welcome back to the Campus Ministry Show. I'm Father Logue, chaplain of Lancaster Catholic High School and host of the show. Once again, we're continuing our interviews with Sister Caroline at Mariawald, so if you're just tuning in for the first time to this episode, check the video playlist, go back and watch our first interviews. Now, back to Sister Caroline. So what brought you to America then, and how long have you been here?
I didn't bring myself to America. I was actually missioned here because there was a need.
Were you excited to go or nervous or?
Good question. If I may really look at, I never sat down to say, now, Caroline, what were your feelings? But as usual, I have answers for everything they say. But this time it was Rome who told me to. They sent me a letter. We are sending you to America, to our retreat house, taking from my pastoral background and my interaction with people. I'm not bragging about it, but when I was back in Africa, I was nicknamed in all the parishes, the missions I went, Mother Teresa. So I was more with the poor people.
For sure.
So first I questioned myself, why should they call me Mother Teresa? I'm doing nothing, I'm fighting actually. And in some schools, like when I was doing the guidance and counseling, I literally could beat the students. Impossible. I was in a rehabilitation school. So I had to defend myself and defend the school and defend my area. But at the end of the day, I got this certificate of behavioral change in the area. But I had to. It was not me. When I sat down, I said, but what is this? Are you a nun? That nun who beats, that nun who fights. I had to do that.
Well, now, Sister, I'm even more glad that none of our Cairo students have misbehaved too badly when they've been here. I don't think they realized how things could have gone for them.
When I crossed the sea, I left everything. America is different from Africa. In some places you have to make yourself comfortable to pursue what you are. If I had just bowed down, they were going to chop my head off or they were going to blow up the car, But you to say, I'm a no-go area, I don't belong to this easy life, there is something more about me, which I didn't verbalize, but because of that, it brought some light to other people to say, but who is she? Why this courage for this one? Why she's all these barriers, cultural barriers she's crossing over. And it brought some enlightenment. And that's how I see it today.
Yeah, little Caroline who was too small and quiet to make it as a missionary.
That was Mother Teresa and Maid Nun, that maid woman. So I had those two names. And then, I would question myself when I sit down and say, is this the right place? You are a nun, and now they call you that maid woman. It contradicted, but underlying even Jesus himself, he had to show who is who.
He knew when to flip tables in the temple. Sometimes that's what we need to do.
And why should I bow down like giving money to this manager who is supposed to feed? Why should I pay him? Why should I praise him for his corruption? Why can't I be different? It's not easy. It's like a drop in the ocean. Everybody does it. 99.99% do it. Why not that 0. whatever?
Yeah.
And I was that, and it wasn't easy.
Well, it sounds like you might have made a big difference, not just for your school, but for many others who came.
Yeah. In that case, I feel when I sit down today and really reflect, of which, I have a long story to say. the transition, what I see today, when I'm here and I look back, I find there was a purpose, there was a reason. And I am not a winner, I am not the best, but I'm just an instrument. And thank God nothing of mine is broken from all those experiences. Yeah. But today I just know like have a deep side to say, oh, you passed it through that. How did you survive? But then you look at him and say, he is.
Some of the biggest differences you've noticed, good differences, bad differences between your home country and the United States?
Mainly good. It's like now I am enjoying my pension. Mm-hmm. Honestly, let's look at it that way. I came to America at a later age. I never dreamt I would leave my continent. But it's like I'm born again. You know, it's like I'm born again. It's like my faith, I'm learning the catechism, you know. And this is my sincere experience. Now I'm talking. I came here in 2018. Mm-hmm. What I can say about America is like, God, you are great. I didn't know you. I knew you, but it's like you are revealing yourself to me. I'm enjoying my religious life now. Not that I didn't enjoy, but it's like rounding up all those experiences. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to say, but the message really is God is great. He's worthy to be praised. He is worthy to be praised. His promises, he keeps. Mm-hmm. Because, to be honest, I always think, that's me. What I've gone through, my upbringing was very good, very rich. In between here, I experienced a lot of problems, so much that I said, well, I wanted to be a missionary, and this is it. Like God had poured all the hardships. Most of the things I talked here were just like hardships. I forgot who I am. People asking what type of a nun is this one fighting, literally fighting. And when I sit down to myself in my room, I feel embarrassed. I feel I haven't done anything. But I did a lot for the Lord in those years. And there's a miracle, there's a story about before I came here. 2013, I celebrated my silver jubilee as a nun. I was in a hospital setting. I had seen and accompanied many people dying of AIDS, of all these funny diseases which can be helped because of the collapsed health system in our place. So what I did, I sat down. I was really drained. I was angry with God. I said, God, all my life I've been useless. I didn't do much. I'm angry with everybody. I have to fight all the time. I am not myself. Me and you, God, are two different people. So I celebrated my jubilee in December. So my prayer was, now it's done. What other exciting thing am I waiting for? You have called me. I've made my first profession. I've taken my ring, final profession. There's nothing exciting. I have had my, my jubilee. Now what next? I want to claim you, or you to claim me as your own. That was my prayer. I said, I just need time to be. And that time my blood pressure was high. I could feel that I was getting a stroke. I said, but what's the point? I haven't done anything for the Lord, and if I die here, it's like I am dead. So that I prayed. 2013, 2014, I was laboring in that dry area where people couldn't get even paracetamol. Paracetamol is Tylenol here. And I always find ways to help. So I went to the bishop and I said, in our hospital, people can't even pay 50 cents for a single course of this Tylenol. So the bishop was Spanish. There were Spanish missionaries in the diocese. So he got something and he would give me a few, I don't know, from his change, whatever it was. So he would come and say, sister, just help. If you are done, come and tell me. That was also very painful. So I had to go. When I finished, I would identify the poorest people. But how can you separate a poor person from a poor person? Mm-hmm. There was no difference. But I would take those worst. I thought they were the worst. And when they needed pints of blood is expensive from the blood bank. So I would take that money and buy for this woman who is bleeding. Fine. But that ate me up. So I said, Lord, I can't see this anymore, but I just want time to be with you. I want to pray. I want to claim myself as a nun for you. 2015, 2016, 2017, I'd forgotten about that prayer. Nothing. I continued now all over the place. I would drive in the ambulance. I would drive the ambulance. You have to cut down on the employees because we didn't have money to pay them. So I did night duty and day duty. I wasn't a nun, but my presence in the sick ward, in the theater before operation, I would go and say a prayer for this one and that one. Before they take the body from the mortuary, I would go and, be there. It was too much. So, and I was sent to another mission, the rehabilitation school, which was started by one of our sisters. And she collected some funds from her home in Germany, and she built just structures and called in students. That area is so poor, the government has forgotten about it. And the children, you find a 13-year-old with a kid. And she is the mother of the family. The parents are dead. Child-headed families. I didn't grow up that way. I didn't see that, but it was sitting on me. One day I was just walking. It's a semi-desert place. So I would go to school and stay there in the office and wait to go into the classes and, guide and talk and get those impossible kids into the office. But I never beat anyone in the office, but in the classroom. When you are called to my office, the boys and girls were shivering. So I told myself, this is a place to bring them back. So I would say, we are talking. I'll beat him in class and drag him to the office and sit him there or sit here there and say, forget about what happened, now let's talk. So that's when I discovered a lot of misery. So that ate me up. So one day I was walking from the convent to the school. It was around 9. At 9 o'clock, you get blisters on the feet. It was hot. Mm-hmm. So I would go there and not come back for lunch. I would just drink water and stay with the kids. On my phone, I get a message. Can you send your photo in the front page, the front page of your passport, that photo? That was 170 miles away. We were in the bush, and the next mission of ours, the provincial house, was 170 miles into the town. I was full of anger and underlying anger. My first reaction was, why? I answered the secretary of the provincial, why? And then she couldn't tell me the secret. They had discussed it there. Mm-hmm. They had gotten the message from Rome, and now they were relaying it to me, but send your photo. She said, why? Why? And she couldn't tell me. So she went to the provincial and said, sister is stubborn. So I walked to the school, and I got to the headmistress' office, was my friend, but my junior. So I said, hey, Claretta, look at this. They want my passport.
One more thing to do.
And then she said, she was protective of me because I was like the whatever in that school. So she says, oh, I don't know. They didn't tell me anything. I said, if you know something, tell me. Then she says, no, I don't. So I rang the provincial. I said, I hear you want my photo, passport, whatever photo. Then she says, yes. I said, for what? Then she says, you don't ask me those questions in this office. I said, you're not serious. You want my photo? It's me. I'm not going to give you unless you explain what you want them for. So she says, when are you getting into town? We need to talk. And this woman had this friend of mine. Caroline, are they transferring you? No, they should consult us. You can't leave this place. I said, but I'm not going to suffer double. You want me to work here and I'm finished. And they call me, they don't explain to me. I can't. So then I said, okay. So I said, I will be coming to town tomorrow. We don't go to town every day from that angle of town of the country.
And this was the 170-mile journey?
When you have to go to town, you have to compile business and get the car and move. So I said, I'm coming tomorrow. So this sister looks at me and said, what business is there? We don't have any business. So I said, you know what, Claretta, I'm not going to sit and wait and be speculating what is coming. I'm going to town tomorrow. Can you compile what I can do? Then I have a reason to go to town. So she says, okay. I said, are you not curious? She said, I am. So I said, oh, give me something to do. So that's how I got to town. And then I called the sister. I said, I'm coming to town tomorrow. By 11, I'll be in town. So I left early. So I drove. It was a bus. Do every business for the school, business for the convent. So I drove. When I got to the provincial, she says, you drive straight to the provincial house. I said, no, what is wrong? What wrong have I done? So I drove straight. When I parked the car, I went straight to the office. There's a double door. That office, I remember, it's like a torture chamber. There's double door.
You probably felt a little like some of your students coming into your office.
Now, when it is your turn, you feel. So I walked in, and then she says, shall we say a prayer? Oh my God. I'm from the bush, I'm running all these things, and now she sits down on the chair and says, shall we say a prayer? Okay. She prayed, and then she says, what I'm going to tell you, I'm not expecting a no. So I said, say it. And then she says, you are going to America, Shillington. I said, is there any workshop? That was my question, because I never dreamt. So she says, no, there's no workshop. Yeah, Romy has asked you to go and be at the retreat center. We know Mariawald from the newsletter. We didn't know about, we knew about Mariawald Center here. Then I said, what is there? Then she said, you're going to be the manager there, whatever they called it. So I said, for how long? Then she'd like to say, wake up, Caroline. Are you not a missionary? Don't you know we are sent anywhere we are needed? So you have been chosen by Rome to go to America. So it's like I woke up from my sleep. And she says, can we go? It was on a Thursday in our provincial house, there's recollection. And adoration throughout the day. So she says, can we go to the chapel? And for 1 hour after that, you come back here. You are not going to the mission today. So I said, okay. So I went there, I sat before the Blessed Sacrament. The thought of America from Africa, Caroline in America from the bush, all those,
Yeah.
So I was sitting before the Blessed Sacrament, on those thoughts racing to America, to the retreat house. I am in the bush now and going to America. What will I offer the Americans? They are higher than me. And, I have no experience. All those. And at one stage, at one moment, I remember, you asked for this. But when did I ask for this? 2013? I said, oh, it's a retreat house. So it was like, now I'm answered. I sat there. And this provincial was just at the back. He's sitting there, I'm praying, we are going to pray. I don't know what she was telling God. And that thought came, and it came just like a flashback. So I said, God, you mean to tell me I'm leaving Africa, going to America? Me? Because in all honesty, I never thought I was somebody after all this. All my life was in the bush. I broke my arm carrying a patient into the ambulance because there were no stretchers. And up to now, that was in the bush. I had to carry an umbrella on an open truck in the bush and were to duck under the branches when the car was driving. I felt I missed those moments. I said, going to America and I'm missing this. So I was there. While I was in that maze of confusion, there was a tap on the shoulder. So the 1 hour was gone. So we had to follow each other back to the office. And then I was just like in another world I was looking at here. And then she says, the congregation is sending you to America. Go back to your mission and pray about it. I don't need an answer now, but thank you, the answer is yes. I stood up, it was like I was not, I don't know what I just was moving. And she was right that I shouldn't go back to the mission because I don't know how I would have.
Yeah, gotten yourself there.
Yes. And there were donkeys on the roads and, all these things, So, and then I was given a room, check-in twice. I went and I slept. And then she said, you think about it and you're saying nothing. Of course, I didn't think of telling anybody, I'm going to America. It's like, what are you talking about? So I went to my room, I slept. The following morning, I had mass and breakfast. So we're looking at each other, me and my provincial. Nobody else knew. And everybody was asking, why is sister in town? And everybody, of course, thought now something must have happened there because I was popular for.
So they thought you were in trouble.
Yeah, and coming in to be in the office. So I was quiet and people were trying to read what is happening. I just was myself. So I drove back. When I got to the mission, I couldn't even tell this headmistress because she was going to, she had said no transfer. Mm-hmm. So I kept quiet. Caroline, what is it? I said, sister was asking about how I'm doing, just like a visitation. But what about the passport thing? So I said, they were saying there's a possibility of having heritage workshop in America, so I might go. I had to create a story, but I was in trouble. And then I kept quiet. And a week later, she called and she says, any chance of coming to town? And then I said, I don't think so. Then she says, I've communicated with Rome. They've started processing your papers. And then she called. There's a letter, official letter of transfer from the generalate. You come and you collect. We are not sending it there. Somebody might see it. So I went to town. I got this letter. I still have it in my room. All that's, from Rome, Caroline, with effect from October 2017, you are no longer a Zimbabwean, you no longer belong to the Zimbabwean province, CPS. Oh. And they were doing all the paperwork. So then now it dawned, there's no way of going back. Fine. I was at home. And when I was with these kids, whatever I experienced, I said, if they would know, they shouldn't waste this time. But we were bonded together now, we were one. 6 months down the line, it was like my secret to the grave.
Still nobody knew 6 months after.
No. And of course, in the offices, there were some people who were connected with America. These young people were here, they knew. So they said, who is this Caroline who's coming? We ain't know, she's whatever they were talking. And some senior sisters were in Africa, they knew. So they were saying, oh, that one is coming. Oh, she's all over the place. That was Nancy, my sister. She was my general. So she came when I was a superior out there once, and she had to sort a lot of problems. So I resigned. I told her, I don't want to be here. Then she was telling me, you can't just move out. You are a missionary. You have to stick it through. Okay, so we had problems. So she said, oh, let her come here and then she can rest. She has been through a lot. So at home, nobody knew except those two. So when we had to process the papers, I would go to the provincial house and work in the evening after dinner. So everybody was asking, why are you going to the provincial in the evening? What is happening? I said, oh, she wants me to help her with something. But we're doing everything online, the papers, everything. So anyway, on the 28th of December, I flew out of Africa. But when it was announced, everybody was, oh, Caroline. And of course, it was like mixed feelings. Who is going to remain here? Who is going to do this? I said, oh, you are many, you can remain. Now I was geared to come here, but I didn't know what I would find here.
Sure.
So I got onto the plane, my first flight, long flight.
First flight ever in your life?
No, that was my third flight,
okay.
But within.
But all within
Yes,
Africa before that?
Because when I was working with the youth, when I was a youth coordinator of the diocese, I could fly in the morning, 45 minutes, go to the capital for a meeting, and fly back. And I flew to Kenya for sabbatical in 2009. That was my longest flight in life, from Zimbabwe to Kenya, which was 1 hour, some minutes. Now, all those minutes to America, I don't know anything, and I don't know all these terminals. And these senior sisters were just saying, you have to, don't carry too heavy hand luggage, you are going to be running. I thought you ran everywhere. So I said, now, running to catch my flight. All those thoughts. But there was nothing like that. And okay, I had my favorite saint, so I just say, I am traveling, but I go with you.
Who is your favorite saint?
That was one of our sisters. I made her a saint, but she is good. Reginata, she was very quiet, very simple. But each time she died, and we buried her in Zimbabwe. Each time you say something, Reginata, this, she will do. You know, something will happen.
Yeah.
So I said, Reginata. So I went to the place and I said, I'm leaving Africa. And I was in the committee for the bereaved in the community. So we had done quite a lot, and we had mass for all our deceased in November. And here comes December, I have to go. So I said, I'm going, guys. I just want to refurbish your graves and everything. So I got the donations, I got everything from the people, and we had mass. It was such a big thing, so it was recorded and sent to Rome, what achievements we have done. You know, some small things, but they go a long way. So I went and I told you, I said, I saw you and we buried you. You were my friend. Now we go together to America.
Thanks so much for tuning in for this interview. Keep checking back for further installments of our interviews here at Mariawald. God bless.